Hello, Mechwarriors, and welcome to the Mechbay, where we fix your mech and fix your game. What's going on, Mechwarriors? I'm your host, Josh. I've got my co-host, Lore Master Denim.
Howdy, howdy.
And Steve, the only man to chug an entire gallon of Malort brand mech coolant and stay standing for at least 30 seconds. Remember, folks, it keeps your mechs cool and your colon clean.
I feel awful.
And we are the Mechbay Podcast, your number one source for all things casual to competitive tabletop battletech. And today's episode is sponsored by Mechwarrior Smeef Honkler and Mechwarrior Wargaming Wanderlust.
You almost made it through with a straight face.
Almost made it through with a straight face. That Wanderlust just cracks me up every time.
Smeef.
Well, boys, we're back. Well, I'm 70% back, I think. I think I'm still 30% mucus, but...
I'm still mad you don't want to do the Lorraine, we need more Marlboro cigarettes voice.
Hold on. I can do it. Lorraine, we need more Marlboros. Specifically Marlboro Reds.
They're the best.
Yeah, I got the Con Crud from Southern Assault. And then it got Con Crudder. So that's how you know it's a good convention, folks.
Picking up bugs to share with your friends.
I know. Well, some of us don't have kids, so we don't build that dirt rubbing on their faces immune system.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah. Denim, welcome back.
Thanks.
We missed you on the Alpha Strike one. We needed that calm, strong, third party to keep us in line. Almost lost it at the end when we talked about reflective armor and heat again.
It's true. Things get a little dicey.
Well, do we want to just get into it? We got a whole nother episode. This time we're talking about the Southern Assault Classic episode. Let's do it. All right, first, it's Battletech News. Steve, you're literate?
I am. I'm not a member of the MRC. I can read. I do read occasionally. The Marshall Way by Jeff Swift has now been released for Kickstarter backers. I believe it should be following for everyone else shortly. Tales from the Bounty Hunter is also out now in paperback. So if you like that exciting hunting type of novel, you can find those short stories in one place. Additionally, Redemption Rift has been released in a new audiobook if you prefer to listen to your books as opposed to read them yourself.
Thank you, Steve. That only took 5 tries, folks. All right. And we got one other thing. Technically, it's this XP thingy I keep getting pinged on the Catalyst Discord about. And I'm going to be honest, I looked at it. There's no words of Battletech on this, so I'm not really paying attention. Anyone want to give me the 30-second sell?
It's XP Network. It reads like a pyramid scheme. When I specifically asked those in charge, I've never heard of XP Network. Who are they? The answer I was given was the cultish, my favorite answer is, we are all XP Network. And I'm like, wow, I'm out. If that's the best you could give me for an answer about that, it just hits all the red flags.
I'm not sure what XP Nation is. I know they want me to sign up. I know that I'm supposed to be able to earn XP for either participating or running events or participating in events, and I can then use that XP and cash it in for product, I guess, when I hit a certain threshold, but I'm not paying anything. And I always get wary. If I'm not paying for a product, then I am the product.
Bingo.
I just don't understand what they want. Do they want my data? Do they want how often I'm playing? Or it may just be they're trying to collect participation data, see who's going to what events where, what format are you playing in. That could be what they're looking for, maybe.
But I want to know that. I want the transparency to know very specifically what they're doing. I'm sure it's not nefarious, but I can't sell that to other people if I don't see it. I just want, and the answers to my questions were not, they just weren't good enough for me. That's my problem.
Yeah, it got pushed a little. It was rolled out and they said, hey, sign up. It's really important that everyone sign up. And I'm like, why? And there wasn't a good answer.
Why? The good answer is because you get 500 bonus XP if you sign up. That was their answer as to why do I need to sign up now? It's to get bonus XP. And again, it's a non-answer. It's, Like,
Well, locally we don't use SPAs, so I don't need any XP. So that's my answer. All right. Hobby progress time, folks. It's been like 2 weeks since Thanksgiving. Has anyone gotten anything painted? Because I know I haven't. I have not at all. And unfortunately, you know what that means, folks. I got to pick 2 people that have been doing stuff on the Hobby Progress channel. I'm a like Time for Biscuits and their Viking 2C. They've even freehanded a 2 on it. Like, I like that. Does the 2 mean 2C? It does not. But I like what they're at. And then War Hawkeye Hammer. They got some Jade Falcons. And you know what? I feel like it's a Jade Falcon month because we got aces out.
I am so happy to see all these people painting Jade Falcons. It makes me feel amazing because everyone's like, I need bad guys, so I'll paint more Jade Falcons from the Aces box. And I'm like, yes, do that. And then you'll have Jade Falcons, which means you'll play Jade Falcons and you will feel the humility and you will feel the honor. And then you will main Jade Falcons and we will grow the Toman.
the funny thing is, Steve, I have seen more painted Jade Falcons on our Discord than actually exist on Terra. That's right.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Yeah. We kind of did a lot of dying. But we're the best at dying. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
The most humble dying.
We died so humbly.
The only thing that Jade Falcon are superior is in the way they die.
Oof. Big oof. It's true. Yeah, so that's me. I got no hobby progress. I technically bought stuff because Bobby for Fortress had that big old moving sale. It might still be on. It definitely won't be on at the time of this podcast coming out. But yeah, no, I bought a lot. That was bad.
It's okay. Do you want to know how much I bought?
0, because I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to buy anything else, Mr. Salvage Box Man.
Look, I'm banned until Christmas. My family is angry. I keep ruining presents. I'm not allowed to buy anything, and it's killing me.
It's tearing me apart, Lisa. So yeah. Steve, what have you been getting done in hobby progress land, though?
I've taken a step away from the Battletech realm. We talked about this a little bit last time, right? After a big tournament, after a lot of hustling and bustling and focusing on something, I decided that I was going to go spend some time painting Gasland stuff. And I have been running my 3D printer. I've got guns and claws and rams and harpoons and mines and all sorts of stuff coming off the 3D printer. And I have painted up 5 buggies for a list that I've called the 8th Plague. So I've got 5 little go-kart dune buggies that have been painted up. And I'm relatively pleased with how they turned out.
I want to play against them so bad.
Yeah, we should.
They do look pretty cool. Like, not gonna lie.
Thank you. But it was just, honestly, it was a fun experiment to paint something else, right? And because we do so many events and everything else, it feels bad. It feels like a distraction when you're like, I'm going to go paint something else, or I want to go paint like a bust, or I'm going to go paint some other miniature that's not for Battletech. It almost feels like you're wasting time sometimes, right? So this was nice to like say, hey, I'm done with the tournament. I have no reason to paint Battletech right now. I want to move to something else, and I did, and that felt great.
I can cheat on her a little bit, just this once as a treat.
No, it was just, you got to change it up a little bit, because otherwise you just get bored. So
that's true. You cannot go 100% on Battletech painting all year and still like keep it as a hobby. Like
you got to keep it fresh.
You got to keep it fresh. Take a break for the holidays, folks. Don't worry, it'll be there. Your pile of shame is going to get bigger. Don't worry. You weren't ever close to finishing it anyways.
Denim, how about you?
Looking at some of your pictures, I was very inspired about Gaslands. I admit I did buy a couple more cars that I don't need. I bought another war rig, but mainly I think I bought all the rest of the Hero Quest expansions I didn't have, and I have been painting those up. So my cheat day has been on Hero Quest.
I have a question for you, Denim.
Mm-hmm.
Are you painting the gargoyle, the best part of Hero Quest?
I'm going to. It is on my list. I'm doing like the doors and the chests and this stuff, like the easy stuff that I can just to make all the terrain look good.
Nice.
And then I'll really work on, on the minis.
Yeah, the barbarian.
But that gargoyle, because I found my old one, and the difference. Oh my god, it's so bad looking, but it was so cool back then. The new one just looks fantastic. But I'm still going to paint it and all that, so it'll look like cracked rock. It'll be cool.
Awesome.
So, Hero
Very
Quest.
nice. Very nice. Let's move on to some games played. I know it's technically been the holidays, but I don't think we technically covered any games played in the Alpha Strike episode. So I got one game in.
I got one game in.
Steve, what about you?
I got 2 games of Gaslands and a game of Battletech. I did get a game of Battletech.
Gaslands!
I did.
Hey.
You did it. You get it in like only just over a year, maybe?
It's just something like that, yeah.
It's just over a year because, I had to look up when was the first time you mentioned getting into Gaslands, and it was right before Thanksgiving. So,
yeah.
But I will say, I painted an entire table's worth of terrain. It looked amazing. It looked really good. So
I saw pictures.
I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. Like
hey, my 1/900 word number works just as fine with Gaslands as it does with Battletech.
If you remember the rules when I call you.
I wasn't by my computer. I was like cooking or something, and I got I technically got the rule right. I just gave you more details that were a little bit wrong, which I immediately corrected like 2 minutes later.
Immediately, 2 minutes later.
But the original rule you called about, I got that right.
Yes, you did. You did. We appreciate it. Josh, how was your game?
All right. I got to play none other than Scott from scotsgameroom.com, and we did some Lyran versus Davian action, so I had to get my good old medium weight Lyran lance out. The old reliable Hollander, the Axeman, the Uziel, and the Bushwhacker versus Scott's Templar, Devastator, and Jaegermech, and technically Cavalier battle armor. What's the scary part? The Cavalier battle armor or the other heavyweights?
I mean, he's got a lot of tonnage on that list.
Yes. But I'm a professional Lyran light player. I don't know why, but Lyran lights and mediums just, technically the Axeman and Bushwhacker are both heavies, right? Right? Someone check me. Can I get fact check in here? Is the Bushwhacker a heavy? No? Okay.
We don't know. The Bushwhacker's a medium.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry. I thought that was sarcastic. Was that a serious question?
I mean, I did.
Bushwhacker's a 55-ton mech. Uziel's a 50-ton mech.
And Axeman is a 60-ton? So
65.
Okay, so that's the heavy. That's the heavy. I was like,
it doesn't matter. 60 and 65 are both heavy. So.
Yeah. It's not a good heavy, but it's still classified for legal purposes.
Most of them don't have 9 points of armor on their head.
That's true. But anyways, this was a fun Civil War fight. I took the Rack Axeman. And
of course you did.
Of course I did. And you know what? I jammed every time I shot it, but we used the playtest rule, so every other turn I got to roll to unjam it. So it was jam, miss, unjam, jam, miss, unjam. And it's like, oh, fool, I love this. This is great. But the cool thing was I was able to shoot my other weapons.
Yeah.
That was so good because other than that mech would have been useless. The Hollander got lucky evading some bad crits against a Jaegermech's armor-piercing rounds because, AC2s and AC5s with APs only need 10s. And Scott crit a bunch of things on that Hollander, and guess what? One entire side torso was just explosives. And
oops.
Yeah, I came out of that alive, so I was quite happy with that. The Bushwhacker held the middle of the field, and the Uziel, this was not the jump strong one. This was the LB2X original Uziel. I'm not Satan, folks. Uziel held the flanks. Now, it came down to the Hollander getting a sweet side torso hit, medium range heavy Gauss rifle, 20 damage, boom to the Jaegermech. Uziel running up to it, following it up with the LB2X, and getting that XL kill. Felt good. The problem was the Uziel got AP'd point blank. And Scott rolled so many crits to that left leg that everything internal on the left leg was critted out, but the leg armor was still there.
Yeah, but only the hip counts, so.
Only the hip counts, yeah. That's technically true. the Bushwhacker hit the Devastator in the head with an SRM. We got this sweet, like, there's a picture where it's like, we have you surrounded, and the Devastator's all like, all I'm surrounded by is fear and dead men. And then the next turn, the Bushwhacker hits it in the head with a LB-10, killing it. And I was like, yeah. Unfortunately, the Highlander also died simultaneously. But you know what? We don't talk about that. He did his one job. And the end of the game was the Axeman getting, I want to say, also a headshot by the Templar's Gauss rifle. Then the Bushwhacker getting an ammo hit on the Templar. And then an ammo like survival, because playtest rules, a Templar can survive an ammo explosion now, and that's just really cool. So I had fun. A lot of things died. It was brutal and fast. And also, this was my first time using the new Mechbay Megamech online app thingy to play it. I don't know if I love the playing on app, but it was possible.
Yeah, I do like the new Mechbay. You said Mechbay app, and I'm like, we have an app? No,
we do not.
I would love to take credit for that app.
Oh my God, I wish.
It is fantastic. So it's awesome. Mekbay for Mechbay.
Right. And that, honestly, I use that now. I used to use Flex, but now that Mechbay has infantry and vehicles and all of it, it does where I go now to get all my sheets.
It doesn't use custom ones yet, but I know you can with Flex, and that's the only thing that Flex does that Mechbay doesn't, but I'm sure that'll change. Like, it's still in beta, especially on a tablet. It's just so good. It's really good.
Yeah, on mobile it was a little rough. I did it. We could do it. It wasn't great. So,
it's really good for looking things up on your phone. Like,
yeah,
really good.
So great for reference, medium for playability on mobile. But what can you say? And then you guys got Gaslands in, but I got a Halo Flashpoint game in against my wife. So look at us, all with our side pieces. Aren't we so proud? Are you proud of me now, Battletech?
Look, at the very least, we both played our games with our wives, so was it really cheating, right?
No, it was not. We did not cheat on our wives with our hobby girlfriend.
Now I feel bad.
Oh no, Denim, what'd you do?
I played Hero Quest because the Hero Quest app will act as Zargon for you, so you can play by yourself. So basically, you guys played with your wives, and I just played by myself in a dark room. Yeah, so I did that.
Nice.
But I had a lot of fun. Halo Flashpoint was good. I enjoyed not having to worry about giant record sheets or anything. It's a D8s. Cover. It uses D8s.
Gross.
Yeah, I was like, wait, I don't have any of these.
I mean, I'd have to go
call
break
yourself
up.
a D&D player.
I don't. I don't own a single D20. I own a D36 though.
It's because you're a madman.
Yeah. Steve, give me your games played, sir.
Sure. So Gaslands was great. I played 2 of them. I played a game with my wife and a game with my buddy Carl. These are just starter games. So you take a regular car and a buggy and you race around the track and try to blow each other up. My wife absolutely mopped the floor with me. I was dead by Gear Shift 3.
Oh my gosh.
It was awful. I went first and then she just slid behind me and gunned me down with those machine guns. She rolled so many 6s. It was dumb. But that's neither here nor there. I did get to play a game of Battletech at the shop that was mostly for fun, right? I mean, it was just no pressure, just playing a game. I played with my buddy Martin, and Martin is simultaneously like a really enjoyable guy to play the game with, but also I feel so bad because the dice hate this man. The dice hate him so much. I played a game. He brought an Argus, a Shadowhawk, a Thanatos, and a Summoner, but they were all C3 linked. I brought a Dark Crow, a War Crow, a Black Hawk, and a White Raven. So I brought my Snow Raven list.
Yeah.
And this was 8,000 points. This was my list that I had brought if we needed a ringer for the tournament to kind of even out numbers. I said, I just in case I brought, this list. So I was excited that I actually got to play it on the field. We laid out 2 map sheets. We laid out the original map just called Battletech with the small link in the middle.
Yep.
And then we laid out the other map sheet it's in the same Mac pack. It's called like oh shoot, what's it called? It has all the depressions, like it's called sinkholes.
Sinkhole, yeah.
It's got all the sinkholes on it. What is it called? So it's called sinkholes. And then we both looked at, because we shuffled maps to just put these maps out to play. We both looked at the battlefield and went, yeah, I'm not going over there. So we all deployed our 8,000 points on one map sheet.
Yeah, on the BattleTech map sheet was the only one I had to play with. I have done that scenario many times. Yeah, many times. That was the only map sheet we had.
It's a good map sheet.
It is.
Two
solid.
Little hills, some woods, big shooting lanes. It's fun. But this game started off rough and then got worse. So it turned into a straight brawl. I mean, that's really all it was. My Blackhawk took an absurd amount of punishment because he just bum rushed the enemy. But he's the Nova or the Blackhawk with all the chemical lasers. Yeah, so he could just ammo. Like rip them all and, not overheat, which was pretty funny. But no, it was pretty brutal. He got torn down pretty quickly. My Dark Crow got eaten by his Shadowhawk and his Thanatos, and my White Raven had the Argus get behind it and rack him in the back. And even with Ferrolam armor, it just punched internally, got 2 engine crits, and the next turn it was all over. So by turn 4, I had killed his summoner, and he had killed 3 of my units. So it was my mostly fresh Warcrow against 3 guys.
Whoa.
I don't know. So he said, hey, man, like if you're not having a good time, we can like stop. I said, no. No, we're going to tough this out. We're going to.
That's how the game goes.
This is it. That's BattleTech, baby. And we're going to play this through. What proceeded to happen next was possibly the most unexpected and frankly improbable result. I shot his Shadowhawk in the face with like some medium laser earlier in the game. That turn, I shot it with a large laser and it died in the face. I had also climbed up on top of a hill and kicked the Argus in the back, but I didn't hit his torso. I kicked him in the head.
Oof.
Field goal.
So I shot his Shadowhawk in the face. I kicked his Argus in the head. And then it was the Warcrow versus the Thanatos. His Thanatos failed a consciousness check on a 2-up. Passed out, fell down. I walked over, took an aimed shot, tried to shoot him in the face because I was adjacent. He was prone, should have been easy. I missed I hit all of my shots and then failed to roll a 6, 7, or 8 on every single one. He woke up the next turn, tried to stand up, failed his get up check, fell down, failed his seatbelt check, failed his consciousness check, and passed back out. Denim, you know what I did next?
So close, dude. So close.
I shot everything at his head again. I hit all of my weapons a second time. I failed to roll a 6, 7, or 8 again. They all missed and hit different locations. And I said, forget this. And then I kicked him in the head.
Nice. All right.
So many head hits, man.
It was bananas. I mean, it was literally headshot city population, us. And the fact that Martin had me down to a single unit and then in 2 turns I killed 3 of his was, I felt like I robbed the poor man.
Yeah, but if that doesn't get you hooked on BattleTech, then it's just not your game.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. So thank you, Martin, for putting up with whatever that tomfoolery was. I'm sure you'll get me in the next one. Denim, how was your game?
I played a friend of mine, Austin, who's at our local shop. He was actually at Southern Assault. So I took the Grey Death Legion, the one with the Regent Prime, the Gargoyle C, the Catapult K2, and the Shadowhawk 7H against his Battlemaster 3M, the Thug 11E, Phoenix Hawk 1BC, which jumps a lot, the Archer 5CS, the Shrek PPC carrier, and then the Pegasus Scout hover tank, the one with the 3 SRM6s. I immediately decided to ignore that. Like all of my guys were either hard enough to hit or heavily enough armored that I could ignore a Pegasus until the very, very end. I parked my catapult on a hill behind partial cover where it belongs. Shadowhawk went for flanking, just like it does. Regent just marched right up the middle, and the Man of War, the Gargoyle, was just, his job was to take out the vehicle, the Shrek, because he had the Ultra AC-20 and the 7 ER medium lasers, all clan.
Oh yeah.
The Regent's got the LB-20X, the Shadowhawk's got the LB-10X. So we're using all the new autocannon rules. It's not any like precision or armor piercing ammo, but yeah. So yeah, that was the goal. Catapult, Overwatch. Man of War goes after the Shrek, and the other guys just beat everyone else up. Marched out there with my Gargoyle. He's fast, goes 5'8". From across the map, the PPC carrier shoots, hits all 3 PPCs. Like, what are the odds? Got 2 left torso hits and a floating crit. He's got 27 armor in his left torso. He's fine. So he takes those 2s down to 7 armor. Oh, floating crit, left torso.
Oops.
So that goes internal. He gets 2 possible crits. He rolls a 9 and a 12. So that's 4 crits. Gargoyle has a single double heat sink and 2 tons of ammo in there. So that's 4 things. They all go up. He immediately goes unconscious, falls down, gets a 5th head hit, laying in the middle of the map, does nothing for the rest of the game. Catapult got tagged by the Phoenix Hawk's narc, and then the archer just stood behind hills and fired. He's got 4 LRM-15s. He must have fired 230 missiles into the hill in front of that catapult. Just missile afterman, 5s and 9s. That's all he was rolling. I crippled the Phoenix Hawk, and it starts like wandering away. Meanwhile, everybody's firing at the Regent. Gets a couple head hits. It goes unconscious. I'm like, well, that's annoying. I had been working on the Battlemaster for a while. Shadowhawk jumps in front of it, he wants to push it into the water. Battlemaster blows his arm off in the shooting phase, so I can't do that. I had already hit the Battlemaster in the head once or twice, so physical attack phase comes. I'm like, well, if I can't push you, I'm going to punch you. Shadowhawk rips the pilot out of the cockpit and crushes it in its remaining fist. As the Battlemaster kicks its leg off, Shadowhawk falls down, fails its piloting, fails its seatbelt, goes unconscious. So here I am, 3 very unconscious mechs. All of them, like, the Gargoyle's missing armor on its left torso. That's it. The Shadowhawk is missing its leg. It still has armor almost everywhere. The Regent has armor everywhere, but it's peppered down to like 5 or 3 armor in every location. But it still has armor everywhere, even in the head where it's taken 3 head hits. But they're all unconscious. Catapult looks over. It's like, nope, I'm out. Turns around, walks off the hill, walks off the map. And that's it. So he lost his Battlemaster, and everything else was able to leave under its own. Shrek never took a hit. Never took a hit at all. It was nailing things all over the place. It was definitely the MVP. So, Austin, that was an incredibly fun game. Thank you very much.
Did you give all of your guys like Benadryl before they got in the pilot seat or
Right.
what? It's nap time over here.
It is. I have to read that. This is from like the later Grey Death books, because it's got like Curtin, Ronan Carlyle, Nick Christensen, and Bell Carlyle. I have no idea like the personalities of these people, but according to this game, like none of them are like they've all got issues.
All right. I don't think we have any upcoming events that we haven't already talked about, and we don't have any fan mail, so let's take a quick break, and then we'll get into our main subject. And inside the TO's brains for the Southern Assault 5 Classic Tournament. So far.
Is your endosteel not what it used to be? Are you underperforming even when running hot? Try Canopus Battle Powder, elemental grade. If that won't raise you, you're Desgra. Come on, join the party.
All right, folks, we are back. Guess what? We ran the Classic tournament at Southern SL 5. We did it. It's over. Yay.
We did it.
Yeah. The largest Classic Battletech tournament in the U.S. ever? Like in-person one that I know of?
Bobby said probably North America, not world, because Essen, I believe, is larger. At least that's what Bobby was saying. But Bobby's got his finger on the pulse for a lot of that stuff. So it was big.
Definitely big. And, those Germans, they love their Battletech.
They do.
So, yeah, we had 54 players and a ringer. So, 55.
It was a lot.
It was a lot
of people.
Yeah. How do we feel? It's over. Are we happy?
Yeah, I am. I thought it went well.
Yeah, I mean, I've run tournaments before, and this, I mean, obviously had its own set of hiccups and, screw ups, but you're going to have that anywhere you go. And the ones that we had were minor in comparison to some of the others I've seen. So I think this went really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall any major issues at all, which is amazing.
Well, I think the best way to do this, because none of us played in the tournament, which is kind of sad. And rather than do like the interview the winner or interview people, because there's going to be a bunch of other content creators that are doing that probably this week or before. So we're going to talk about like what went on in the TO's heads. So we're going to talk a little bit about the format. So if you did not and were not able to play, you can kind of build a list to see how it would do. And we're going to go into all that. Then we're going to go into how things were scored and the kind of overall statistics, because guess what? We did a survey afterwards and we got a lot of responses. So we can talk about how everyone felt about that. And then a little bit more on how we feel. So let's get into it. First off, this was 8,000 BV. How do we feel about that? How did we feel before we had 55 people playing with 8,000 BV? And how do we feel after? I know for me, before, I thought this was fine. This is pretty much what we play locally, but I've just made an even number. And it's enough that you can run kind of whatever you want in reason.
Yeah. I mean, I know when we started out, we were talking about maybe 7,500 and there were some discussions about clan lists. So we decided to bump it up to 8,000. I mean, I didn't play with this. I didn't, I built a list for it, and building a clan list, it felt maybe just a touch tight, but I got 4 clan units in it and that's respectable. So I think 8,000 was fine.
That's always the problem with clan lists. It's just when you take expensive stuff, you can never take enough. And there's definitely a point where it's like, okay, the clan player finally has a clan list and the Intersphere player has 4 atlases at 2-3.
Right.
So we have talked about this before. There is no perfect PV. There just isn't. Denim, what about you?
Yeah. So the tournaments I had been part of beforehand led me to the 8,000 BV, because 7,500 is what we use at the store for just pickup games. And it's great if the clans can use battle armor. That's a big thing. But without battle armor, since we weren't doing that, I felt that they needed more. 10K, way too much for a tournament setting. It's just, there's just too many points on the board. The games go way too long. But 8,000, it's a little bit more than 7,500. And with no BV, I felt that it went okay.
Yeah. I think afterwards, I think that was the right decision. I think 8,000 was pretty okay. Is it perfect? No. The clan players are always going to want more, and the Intersphere players are going to want something either more or less. No one's ever happy, but I think it worked out. So, all right. We had a minimum 3 units, a maximum 6. This is pretty common for a lot of events. I know we had floated minimum 1 unit. Just on the off chance if someone wants to take like a super skilled Turkina Z or something, but that wasn't allowed, by the way. But for that, so minimum 3, maximum 6. I think it was fine. I think we all had good thoughts on that. Steve,
I didn't see anyone that. Right. I'm trying to think. Were there any lists that had more than 4 units? I don't think anyone ran the full 6.
There were.
I saw
were a
some
few
5s.
Yeah, there were a few. So there were a few 3. There was like 2 3s and 2 6s.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a pretty good range. For clanners, you're not going to get 6 units unless you take a bunch of cheap garbage. And for Intersphere, I mean, if you're going to take 6, they're not going to be real beefy. So I think it was a fine unit cap. I mean, again, I'm afraid that a lot of these questions are going to yield results that say we thought it was fine because we
ended up agreeing on this. Now, some of these things we didn't like. We argued about a lot of these things, but everything that came out was something that all three of us could agree on. Therefore, I think you're right, Steve. I think we're all going to say, after consideration, we agreed that this was in fact what we wanted. But we can't. So yeah, I think the how do we feel is going to go this way. But better, I think, like what was our thought process behind it? Kind of like the 8,000 BV. Like, why did we think that was good? The 3 min 6 max, I felt that it was good because I didn't want someone to take 8 mechs, tiny little mechs that would die if you glance at them poorly, but could spread out and cover the map. And I certainly didn't want 1 or 2 behemoths out there that it didn't matter how much firepower you put into them, they weren't going down, and they all had like 1-2 skills. So 3 to 6 kind of forced you into that comfort zone of normal, in quotes, unit numbers, because a lance, a star, whatever comp star uses,
level 2
that stuff. Yeah,
there were 5 lists with 3 units and 5 lists with 6 units. So
I didn't think we had that many at the both extremes.
Yeah.
So most people are taking 4 or 5 like they are to most normal games.
Yep.
Yeah. So we chose for this one to be battle mechs only. So only mechs.
Right. To make it easy, battle mechs only this year. Like that's the real answer, to make it easy. I love battle armor. I also don't think that all battle armor should be allowed, but that wasn't a discussion that the three of us were willing to have when we needed to make decisions about the tournament that was only happening in a few months. So we had to make some hard choices, and that choice was battle mechs only this year for sure.
Yeah, especially for a first time we were running this tournament. Not the first tournament that I've run or Dunham's run, but in general, the this tournament itself. For the first one, a lot of our decisions were keep it simple, right?
Yeah.
Bust it down as few moving parts as you can manage just to make sure that it goes off well. And I think we succeeded in that. So afterwards, looking at it now, I think we made the right call. Prospectively, I think that's something that might be up for reconsideration.
Everything's always up for reconsideration. I know a big thing that was in our brains when making this was, hey, this is the 3rd day of an event. There's 2 days of Alpha Strike games going on, and a lot of those people are also going to be playing in the Classic one. Now, my brain has to shift gears from Alpha Strike to Classic to help people with questions. There's a lot of battle armor interactions that I can't do off the fly, but I can do a lot of battle mech things just off the cuff of my brain. So, yeah. Of course, people still had questions, and I still had to stop and be like, wait, no, that's solved in the playtest. Dang it, now I got to look this up. It's really simple, I swear.
Yeah, the playtest coming out so close to the tournament did throw me off.
So mad. I'm so mad.
Because I had already shifted into using so many of those rules. So yeah, there was some hesitation there of of course I know that. Oh, that was altered slightly.
Yeah. I think my favorite part is when people would ask me questions, and if I knew them, I could answer them. But if I didn't, I just ran and found Denim.
Yeah.
You were my security blanket, Denim. It was great.
I was all over that place.
Faction and era. So we chose to follow the Southern Assault Alpha Strike playset in that you have to pick a faction and you have to pick an era for that faction. I thought this was pretty standard. I mean, if you can't take what you want in that faction, you can probably find a faction that has that. So I know for Classic, we don't think about faction and era.
I really don't. This is a concept I don't focus on very much. But like you said, the reason why we did it and the reason why I'm like, yeah, that's fine, is because Southern Assault was already doing it for the Alpha Strike tournament. So it was just easy to be like, well, this is the Southern Assault Classic tournament, so why not just keep that going? It's just easy. It's just easy.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. We got a lot of feedback. People were saying, hey, I would love to just have everyone locked to the same era. So that way there's a little bit more of a kind of equality between tech. But I mean, if you want to run Star League era stuff, I mean, you have to know going into a tournament that you're going to be going up against Eel Clan and Dark Age stuff. So you may not be on the same level here, but you can make those decisions however you like.
Yeah. Intersphere just gets so limited before Eel Clan.
Yeah, but it's okay. They've got spunk, and that's what really matters. So, like we touched on simplicity, we decided to make this Battle Mech manual rules only. So, do not look at Total Warfare. Only look at Battle Mech manual.
Yeah, and that's like, especially for me who's running around, I want one book. I want to carry one book into that hall to answer people's questions. I don't want to remember which book that this particular thing was in. I want a single book. I am happy that the next iteration is going to be having more things. It's going to have the quad turrets. It's going to have the blue shield PPC inhibitor type stuff. So it's only going to be better, but I still just want one book. I know that we're talking about battle armor. That's my one big problem with battle armor, is that it's not in the BMM. So I'm going to have something else. I don't think I'd carry around the Total Warfare. I would just print out a packet of battle armor rules.
I've heard people use the Clan Invasion box set because it's got that little tiny insert packet. It's got the basic battle armor rules in there.
Yeah, but it's the thing, that's the basic ones. And the thing about battle armor is it gets weird, and people like the weird battle armor. I say if we're doing battle armor, this is my opinion. If we're doing battle armor next time, we are using this subset of battle armor, and that is a discussion that we were not ready to have going into Southern Assault 5. I relearn this like every 6 months when Scott from Scott's Game Room reminds me. It's like, hey, did you know advanced SRMs get +1 to their cluster table? And I was like, wait, where is that in the rules? And he's like, it's on the asterisks in the equipment table. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
And it's like, and then I forget it, and then I don't use advanced SRMs on battle armor, and then I use them again, and I'm like, this needs to be written better. So, and the other thing is, we've ran a lot of BMM only events locally, and they go really well because everyone just knows where to look up all the rules, and it's all written in the same language. So it helps level that playing field. I liked it. Next one. So this one was a little bit more controversial. No duplicate chassis. So you can't take 2 Warhammers. I don't care which variant.
This is slightly different than the way that Bobby does it for the Southern Assault, for the Alpha Strike game, because he allows you to take 2 of the same chassis, but not 2 of the same variant. So you can take, a Locust, but you couldn't take a Locust 5M and another 5M. You could take like a 3V or something, right? For us, the no duplicate chassis rule, I think, is fine. There are so many battle mechs out there.
So many.
Take 2 of the same. I don't care. I just find something else. You'll manage.
The problem I had is, how do we define chassis? Because that's not even defined in BattleTech very well. It's just like,
right. Like, I wouldn't count a Warhammer and a Warhammer 2C as the same chassis.
No. Now, the one problem we had is, okay, is it like the model code? Because like a Spider and a Venom are both SDR something. And I was like, no. And we decided to go with the master unit list. Like, if you type it in and it has its own thing as a selection, then it's a different chassis. And the big thing that lost out is things like the Firestarter and Firestarter Omni are considered the same chassis. And I was
that was a rough one.
That was rough. But there's so many edge cases like that that I'm like, which Sherman tank do you not want to double up on? And it's like, I don't know anything not named Sherman.
But yeah, anything that slowed our decision making down just got thrown out.
Yeah.
Like that. We're like, this Omni being a separate chassis feels bad. And our response was, we're out of time. Too bad. That's a next year problem.
If you want to take one, you only get one. Is it the Omni one or not the Omni one? I don't care, but you have to choose. So I was still happy with that. So it's also kind of nice not to see duplicates of very optimized chassis. Like normally the variant is like, oh, this one just doesn't have one extra heat sink. And it's like, okay, well, that's the same thing. I don't want to see that.
These are the same picture.
Corporate ass. These are the same. This one was probably my favorite one. You were allowed one unique or named chassis.
I will be honest in this. I was probably the biggest opponent to having this listed in our packet. I was extremely concerned because some of the uniques are not super, in my opinion, I think they're a little bit more optimized than others because they're unique and they're hero mechs, and these are the ones that, named people who've done amazing feats in. So naturally, they're going to be a little bit better than some of the other regular variants. That was before. I think a couple got brought, and I didn't see them get abused.
They were very few. Like I expected 10%, and it wasn't even that. It was like single digit percent. I was like, oh, I see. This is just one of those things that I like. But the people that did take them, I bet probably more appreciated that.
I'm sure they did. I mean, I have to be honest. Afterwards, I don't think they were as big a problem as my general concern was going to be. So I'm happy to keep that going forward. That doesn't bug me at all.
Yeah, I didn't care because even if they are more optimized, you're generally paying that in BV. I know that there are a few issues with BV, but that's a whole different thing. Like the Butterbee. That's what I was like, oh, the Catapult Butterbee. That's a named variant. I'd like people to be able to bring that. You pay for it in BV. So, that still limits other things you can take. Yeah, I had no problem with it.
It's one of those things that has probably divided the community. Like, are these allowed even in pickup games, or are these just narrative? And even at a tournament, just seeing not anyone take them when you could take them. Like, if you're taking one, you're probably defining your list around it. And it's like, yeah, this wasn't a big problem. This probably isn't as big a deal to the community as we think it is. When you see
it's very important to a small but very vocal subset of players. Mm-hmm. And it's the fact that they're vocal, not that they have numbers.
Yeah, the fact that no named chassis or unique chassis came anywhere close to the top. It's like, yeah, those people were just happy to take it, and that's okay. All right, another polarizing one. Gunnery and piloting must be within 1. And the maximum skill rating is 5. So you could go 0 as low and max 5, but you had to be within 1. So a 3-4 is okay. A 2-4 is not okay.
It keeps it away from having the Scouts with an 8 gunnery and a 1 piloting.
I feel called out again.
Yeah, you 100%. That is absolutely like what I was trying to avoid is people like you. 100%.
I was like, if he picks any other mech, I know he's not talking about me. Oh no, it's an Scout that's 8-1. Oh no, it's a Adepticon all over. And you know what?
Yeah.
Adepticon didn't hit a single thing. Every TFA
doesn't matter.
I know.
Doesn't matter. I was trying to avoid that, and therefore the GP within 1 absolutely did that, and it made things easy.
Steve, what about you?
I find it frustrating when I'm trying to build lists with this particular restriction, especially trying to build clan, because it's extremely costly, right? You want to up your gunnery, means you also have to upgrade your piloting, and it gets real tight real fast. So
it makes an expensive clan mech even way more expensive.
That's it. So despite that, I think it's a fine rule. It stopped a lot of, I think, abuses, and I think it hemmed everybody in the same pen. So as frustrating as it was for me to build a list within those restrictions, I think they were important to have.
I really wanted to take my 2-4, Hollander, but I also understand it's probably okay to just, if I really need the gunnery, make it 2-3, or if I don't have the points, make it a 3-4. So it's all about sacrifices. Another controversial one. 1 ton of special ammo. That is special ammo defined as it's not printed on your Catalyst record sheet. Artemis is not a special ammo. It is just an ammo that comes with Artemis. Narc enabled LRMs. That's a special ammo. Precision AC-20. That's a special ammo. Now this one is you could have 1 ton of anything in the BMM. We didn't care. Haywire INARC pods. It's legal. But then you couldn't take, any INARC missiles.
Yeah.
How do we feel about 1 ton?
It's too few. It's too little.
It's too little. But
maybe 1 ton per mech. Maybe there's discussion that needed to be had. But it was too little.
Then the problem is, then the playtest came out and they've changed everything, and it's like, well, great. You know what? Dear listener, if you could take one thing away from this entire episode, is 3 TOs complained that the playtest came out after they had solidified the packet and had all their board decisions and gotten the legal team involved and HR and had all these back room, in the room where it happened, Hamilton style. And then the playtest comes out and it's like, well, screw that. I would just run this, but we can't because everyone's already made lists and submitted it. We're all so angry and bitter. Yeah, no, I like the one rule for some things, and I know we went back and forth on a lot, like one missile one autocannon one. Like, how do we want to do this? Do you want to use 2 of 1? And it's like, honestly, for this one, I'm just kind of waiting to see how Catalyst levels the playing field of special ammos, and if they kind of solve it next year, then we'll just go with that. But at the time, this looked pretty good, and I'm going to stand by it.
Yeah, I think the 1 ton was a tight restriction, and a lot of people wanted more. But at the same time, we had to have some way to track it and keep, to make sure it wasn't being abused. And I think you gave everyone a little bit of a flavor with 1 ton. So if you really wanted something, you could take it, but you can't just, run wild. So I thought it was fine.
My big problem, like we said, my big problem with it is that special ammo isn't reflected in the BV, but it gives special abilities and it makes some things easier and some things not. So yeah, if it's going to change how a weapon works fundamentally, but there's no, precision ammo, it basically makes it a pulse weapon against fast mechs. There's no BV cost to that. So that's where my problem was.
Yeah. Like, not all specialty ammos are built the same. They're not balanced internally either. And there's no BV cost. You know what? They all have C-bill cost.
Exactly. That's the whole thing, though, is unless we start basing this on C-bill, which I'm not going to do, it's tough to balance in a tournament scenario when it doesn't have a BV cost. It just is.
Yeah. All right, here's the last one of the standard rule. We said you could only take up to 2 units that jumped 7 hexes or more. So you had 7 or more jump MP. And we've all played the list that's all jump strong in Classic. They're all UZL 8Ss. They're all Ion Sparrows. It's not that we did anything. It's just we didn't want anyone just slow playing by jumping all the time. Like, we wanted this to be more combat focused.
My problem with the jump ones in general is that they are not accurately penalized with BV properly, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And there's no PSRs when you jump. Like, there's so many things they could do to balance it. But again, Battletech wasn't designed to be a tournament game. Therefore, things like jump 7 being super powerful wasn't considered when they were doing the balancing stuff. So we did a limit to keep everyone having a more vanilla list. I don't know if I was ultimately happy with it, but we were out of time, and I knew that it would solve so many problems of NPE. So
that's the one. Yeah. It's like this made. It's not that I really care about someone taking all jump 10 or whatever, like Oscouts. Like, if you want to do that, you can. This just makes it like, hey, the person that took a clan evasion list, he's going to hit something like more statistically than when he's hitting on TMM5 in woods. So
especially since we had a pulse limit as well, and if like that's your biggest defense against jump 7s is targeting computer pulse. But if we're limiting pulse, but we're letting people have a bunch of jump 7 pluses, like, we're shooting ourselves in the foot there.
Yeah. I mean, this also is reflected in the Alpha Strike side, where Bobby allows no more than 2 jump strong units.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Or I'm sorry, a limit of jump strong 2 total, not 2 units, but plus 2 on the jump strong chart.
All like 3 jump strong 2 units.
Well, whatever. You only let take.
I know.
But no, it's. How did I feel about this?
Jade Falcon player.
No, I'm going to be honest. I think we might have been too generous in this. I don't think it was abused. I don't recall anyone taking 2 units to jump 7+ in our list.
There were some people that talked about it, but I don't think they did.
My test list did have 2 7+. I think it had a 7+ and an 8 or a 9, like a 7 and a 9. Just because I knew that that's what our limit was. So my test one that I wanted to test these with, I wanted to make sure that I was checking the missions for those outliers.
Yeah, that was gross. I did not have a fun time against that list. But I think we might have been a little bit too lax. But again, we'll have more time for next year to revisit and discuss some of these. But again, I think the players did a good job of self-policing, understanding that I'm about to go to a tournament, and while I want to win, I also want my opponent to have a good time. And I don't think we saw too much of jump abuse. So
no,
I don't think that the missions allowed for it, though. And I think that's where the real way we can keep that from being a problem later is designing missions that don't reward, a bunch of jump plus 7+ mechs. I think it's good mission design could fix some of these problems.
So the max jump that some people took was 25 jump MP across their entire list, and they are spread all throughout the placement. So it's not like if you took all jump, you did good, and all the people that didn't take jump did not do good. It's pretty much the same at the top and same at the bottom. The average was like 12 jump, which is, like 3, 4, 6, 4 jumpers. Like it's not a lot. So yeah. And then the last one, we had a pulse limit. Everyone loves them. Everyone hates them, especially the pulse players. 40 damage. We don't care what tech level, what tech type, whether it's made Hecho in Inner Sphero or made in the clan. We don't care. Just 40 pulse damage, short range damage, I should say. I thought that was fine. It just, once again, it's NPE preventative more than anything.
I know that some of us, and I'm not going to call out who or anything, wanted it even less than that. And my opinion was if I couldn't take a Rifleman 2C, I would be sad. So I wanted people to at least have that option. So I think we ended up bumping it up to 40. And again, I don't think we need a pulse limit if the BV was correct for pulse.
Yeah. Which they're doing. So
fingers crossed.
I'm going to be honest. Rifleman 2C with his big dumb disc head is one of my favorite mechs from my childhood. So I wanted to be able to run it if I wanted to. So that 40 was a nice sweet spot for me.
Average pulse damage was like 26. So some lists had 0, some lists had 39. The middle had about like 30, 35. So it's like, it was doing good, but like even at the top, people are taking 0 pulse. You don't need pulse if you can't take all pulse, kind of thing. So those are the standard ones. We want to crack open the non-standard rules that we had to add in here.
Sure.
All right. First one, we use the CGL front-loaded initiative.
And when we say CGL, we mean the rules that were put out in the initiative deck like a couple of years ago that apparently nobody knows are in there, like at all.
Regardless of who wins initiative, you just move all units until the 2 forces
are equal.
And then it's initiative order.
And it's normal initiative.
Yeah. How did we feel about that before, and how did we feel about it after?
Being that was my first introduction to front loaded, and that's what I read first, and that's what I knew, like this was a no-brainer for me. I mean, it just made sense to me. I didn't realize so many other people had read some other variant of it first. But this was simple. Like it was simple. You could do it quickly. You didn't need to know math. If you understood it, it just worked. But getting people to understand it and wrap their head around it was harder than I expected.
I think the big concern with doing it this way, as opposed to we'll call it alternate front-loaded initiative, which is where the party that has more units will move 2 until you're equal and then go 1-to-1, right? Mm-hmm. The problem with doing this the CGL front loaded where everything goes at one time, especially in objective missions, you can easily get a huge advantage if I have more units than you, because I can rush to the objectives and block you out or block your path so you can't get to the objectives, which almost feels counterintuitive to how the stated goal of front-loaded initiative, which is to not allow the more unit having player to get a whole bunch of movements at the end, right? Which is often advantageous for combat. So if you're playing a lot of objective games and you have a ton, you get to move them all up front. That almost feels punishing, but in the other direction.
Yeah, that's my initial comment is it sounds good until you realize that now whoever loses initiative gets to move on to objectives first. And while it is easier, this is one of those, like, I know CGL has like floated this one in the like leaked playtest on. It's like, oh, this is how it's going to be. It's like initiative is still the most fair thing. It's just how are they going to do it? I don't know. Part of me is like, I don't care at this point. Just pick however y'all are going to do it, and then we'll just complain about it later.
If it weren't for things like charging, pushing, and DFA, I would agree with you more. But if people use those more to get on objectives and to do damage to mechs that were on objectives, I don't find it as big of a downside, because you get to see where your opponent is going. They are committing to an objective, and then you can react to their committing to that. So I don't find that as much of a disadvantage as other people tend to do, personally. But that could just be how I think about the game too.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I will say the inverse or reverse front load initiative is also much more used in Alpha Strike. So I think that's coming from the Alpha Strike way and going to Classic, where we just don't have that huge disparity of numbers in lists normally, where we don't actually need front loaded as much. So if anything, we might just go to rulebook initiative, but yeah, we did it.
The rulebook initiative might be that. Yeah. Like, we don't know what the new BMM is going to look like.
Yeah. Next one, fire declarations. This one is one that we do a lot locally, which is you just need to state who's the firing mech and who's the target. And you can work out the weapons when you get to the weapons, because a lot of times it might be destroyed. You might not have anything left. It's just, all right, I don't want the game to stop once we end movement and we start like tallying up fire declarations. It's like, I'm shooting here to here, and I'll work out the math once I get there.
Yeah, it's a way to make tournaments faster, which is why, like, it only matters in a few small situations. Plasma weapons, infernos, stuff that alters your heat and you don't know about it. It could alter it there, or times when you die and decide to alpha strike even though you normally wouldn't. Both of those are outliers. I think the speed increase that you get in a tournament setting far outweighs the outlier situations where it is not as useful.
Yeah, we had some pretty strong reactions to this particular rule. Actually, I heard a couple people say they did not like this at all, and they claimed that it didn't save much time. I feel like it saves a lot of time, especially at my tables. This is how we normally play for funsies. I mean, it's just hell. There have been times where we'll play like Alpha Strike. We don't even make target declarations until it's that unit's turn, when we just play for pickup games, just because we're not that invested. We're here to play and have a good time, I teach a lot of new players, and I always teach the correct way, followed by, if you're playing a pickup game, we play it much more relaxed, but I want you to know the real rules and why those rules exist and when it matters. But it does. If you're doing it correctly, the fire declaration rule we used definitely speeds up a game. Like, definitely.
And the last one, the biggest one, pre-selected battlefield support. So everyone was forced, I say, to have a heavy airstrike and 2 light airstrikes. And they just got those for free. And they got no air cover.
This was contentious. One of the reasons was to limit super fast, like the Dasher P, mechs like that. But I guess my problem with it was that we were also already limiting fast jumpers or pulse mechs. So it was like double limiting. And I think, honestly, looking back on it, we should have gone one way or the other. We should have had BSPs and no jumper pulse limits, or jump and pulse limits but no BSPs, because we're doing the same thing twice, and I think that actually hurt in the long run. I do like BSPs. I like them a lot. They are very swingy. But I don't. My big problem was limiting things twice. That was my big problem with it. So I think we overthought it, or just moved on too quickly because we didn't have time to have the conversations. It should have been one or the other.
It's interesting. I don't necessarily agree, because things like the dasher, right? That's a speed issue, not necessarily a jump issue, right?
Right. Well, it's got the pulses, though. It's a speed issue with pulses, and that's what makes that dasher scary, are the pulses.
It's the glass cannon issue. How about that? It's not the speed or anything. This is a unit that is hyper weighted towards offense and just killing you very quickly. But please continue, Steve.
No, I like BSPs. I think that the pre-selected BSPs did their job here, which was to not prohibit, but disincentivize some of these extremely fragile fast mechs. I don't find Battletech fun when I'm shooting on 11s if something runs into woods, right? If it's jumping 7 or jumping 8 and ending up in woods, even if I have, so in a situation like we had here where you have to keep units within 1, which makes buying mechs pretty expensive, you may not always be able to afford that gunnery upgrade. So now if I have something that runs or jumps 7 sitting in woods and there's an intervening woods, or I'm at medium range, all of a sudden I'm on 10s and 11s. That's not really engaging gameplay. And I don't like throwing dice and not seeing things die. So having something in the back pocket to, at the very least, say, I need to hit you on a 5 or a 6, and I might be able to knock you over, or I might be able to kill you or punch internal. I think that's really important. And I think that gives people tools in a toolbox that they don't have to use. If you don't like them, you don't have to use them. That's okay. Right. But they're there. And in the list building phase, it prevented a lot of people from taking that stuff, which I think overall made a much better, more enjoyable experience for the player, just because how they play out on the field doesn't necessarily mean they didn't do their job in the list building phase, which I think is positive.
Yeah, but I guess it's to my point. If it's already limiting people, then we didn't need the jump and pull.
But it's not a hard limit. It's a disincentivization, right? You can still bring it. You just have to know the risks.
So for me, this was probably the one that we spent the most time on. BSPs are like, we had to change how they work fundamentally by making them one. You can only use 1 per turn. So unlike in normal BSPs where you just dump 3 of them and you destroy something, I was like, no, you have to use 1 per turn. The other thing is, like, you can choose what you want to do. If you want to use them early on in the game and kill the Dasher or Light Mech or Locust, Wasp, whatever, you can. Or if you want to save it and kill the Heavy Mech that you've crippled, but you've lost almost all of your guys except one dude who's on the ground, now you can use it. So it is a fully player choice on what you select to fire on. The other thing is, because we did not allow battle armor, I consider these to be pretty close to the damage output of good upgunned, very optimized battle armor, where they could be wherever they want, they get deployed, and then they just do something like 40 damage into your back. Like, it's, we don't like BSPs, but we like battle armor, and it's like, okay, but I also can't kill like a lot of battle armor. Like, She-Do, Word of Lake battle armor that do that and kill me in 1 hit. Like, yeah, I don't like that. Do I like 5 groups of 5? I also don't like that, but I like it a lot more than that. So, I don't know. I don't think BSPs are perfect. I don't think they will ever be perfect. I think they did the job of, hey, just so you know, if you're taking something just to like initiative sync, if you're taking something that's hyper optimized glass cannon, or you're taking something that just has no purpose being on there and it's just like a joke, it can get shot like hiding behind a wall. Like, it's not, nothing is immune to damage. And that was something we definitely leaned into for the entire tournament. So, because we themed it around a Solaris style event that was focused on lethality. We didn't want people just keeping their mechs around and living them forever. No, we wanted blood, we wanted guts, we wanted action. And I think the BSPs, how they were for this, did the job. Were they perfect?
Yeah.
No. But yeah.
I also think that we could have done a better job with the theming if we had more time, because I did want to go with the ultra-violent Solaris type of theme where you weren't out here to survive. You have some objectives, and your main thing is to get points. Your main thing is not to kill all the opponent's mechs and keep all of your mechs alive. Like, there's supposed to be, in my mind, a lot of carnage. Like, both teams should come out looking worse, much worse for wear, in an ideal matchup. Like, that's... But again, I'm one of those people who likes to see explosions, whether they're mine or someone else's. I'm not what you'd call a try-hard tournament player. So
I will continue to push for the use of BSPs. I don't think that the downsides are nearly as bad as everyone makes them out to seem, but that's me and that's my personal opinion. So we'll have to look at the data and we'll discuss further. And, I'm not saying that we can't tweak it to make it more, equitable or more manageable, but I still think they have a positive influence on the game.
So, like, for example, about half of the people in the survey said that they did not like them. But what's not as shown as much in there is, if you read more into the data, out of those people who didn't like them, a lot of them particularly had issue with the heavy strike. So, maybe we design missions that are good for light strikes and just eliminate the heavy strikes altogether. We don't know. It's one of those things that now that we have time, now that we have data to analyze, we can actually really look into this and get into the fine details. But when it boils down to it, it's our tournament, not yours. So, you don't have to come.
All right. For the maps, we had all 3D on Field Tech maps, custom made by me, you, Kaiserfalk, Hoovy, and a bunch of other people that stayed that night and helped us set up like 30 tables.
Most of this was Thunderhead stuff, right?
And Cross Electric Designs. He gets a lot of those rivers and everything.
Fantastic.
So, yeah. But I thought this was great. I know, there was a little bit of hesitation saying, oh, these aren't really balanced. But what I like about the Field Tech maps is every map was different. Every map was unique. If you were to play on a regular CGL map, everyone's played on mines. Everybody knows which hex you want to sit in on mines because you get a great field of view, partial cover, and woods. Everyone knows where you want to sit. And if those maps are pre-made and preset out there, everyone's rushing for those optimized places on the map. These maps didn't have them. They were all unique. Everyone had their own challenge. Was it a pain to set up? Sure. Were all of them totally fair for each mission? No, we couldn't help that. But when you're running a tournament with this many people on 30 maps, I mean, we had to work with Bobby to have terrain 3D printed and painted. We had to work with, Matt from Cross Electric to get rivers, and we had to work, everybody. We had to coordinate all these moving pieces on a very short time frame, right? A really short time frame. I think it turned out pretty well for what we had, and I hope people enjoyed it.
We had no backups. We had no, nothing like that. So.
Oh, we had backups. They were just 2D.
But it was very important to me personally that we played with 3D terrain. If we're doing a tournament like this, I would feel bad if people were on 2D maps. I really, really just would. I don't, not for a tournament of this size. There's no reason.
This actually leads into one of the next points that I want to talk about is we had such an eclectic collection of different 3D printed trees and different brands of trees and different color trees and cacti and everything else. We had to make some very specific decisions on what are woods, how are woods, defined. And we just had to make the call that all woods are light woods. Some trees maybe look like they're heavy woods, but they're all light woods.
They're all light woods.
We can't, we just didn't have the power we didn't have the resources available in that short period of time to make them all map accurate. So they were all light and all water was depth 1, despite the fact that some of it looked really dark. It was all level 1. And honestly, Josh, I'm still mad.
I'm so mad. Like, I came over and I was like, hey, guess what? You're at the special table. And I looked it up and I was like, oh.
So Cross Electric Designs had made us a couple of lava pools, which looked rad. And we were like, oh man, we get to have a lava map. And then Josh was like, hey, Steve. I'm like, what? He's like, lava rules aren't in the Battle Mech manual.
They're not. Sorry.
I was so mad.
That was the best looking table too. Like we probably spent like a whole 3 minutes extra on that table, like make it look good.
Yeah, but see, and those types of things, I love, like for that tournament right there, I super agree. All woods are light woods, all water is depth 1, all lava is water. But if there was like an exhibition match, that I'm totally fine with using like lava rules and some other books and everything. But for the tournament itself, just to keep things moving, 100% that was the right call.
I think next year we got to make sure there are no lakes in the middle of the map, because in some of our missions, we had objectives near the middle of the map and they were in water. We got to find those tables and make sure we relocate those water hexes, or we don't do that again.
I know for me, like someone asked and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to just swap these two terrains. There you go. Problem solved. And I was like, you asked the TO and you got a TO solution. And there's some people that didn't ask or didn't think to ask. And I'm sorry, but like, yeah, like I don't care if you change the terrain on the table. Like, and I will say that
as long as both sides are happy, and that was a lot of my, like for the TO type stuff when we had some rule questions and things. My first response is, are you both happy with the solution you came up with already? Yes, go with that. If not, I will give you a decision and you will just go with it. So if you can work it out amongst yourselves where everybody's happy, great. I don't have enough time to go through a whole compromise like argument type thing. I will give you my answer and I will just move on. I've got so many other tables.
I think this is a big difference, like from the Alpha Strike tournament, where we just have so many missions where like all the terrain interferes with the objectives, and it's just like the players just assume I have to move the terrain because I can't play with this objective.
Have to move
they have to
move the objective.
It just has to be moved, and it's like for Classic, I think there was just like, yes, we probably should have made an announcement. Hey, if it falls in water, but
now we know, and that's in our notes.
Yeah. But hey, almost every table had water, and that's impressive too.
Yeah, it was.
At least a little bit.
I was not expecting that.
So thanks, Matt from Cross Electric, for printing enough water, and everyone also got water in their swag bags, which was pretty cool.
Yep, and also thank you to Chris from Thunderhead, because your hills are just amazing.
We'll get to the thank yous because we have a long list of people we owe favors to.
All right. Do you want to talk about missions real quick? Just the general concept? Like,
nope.
No?
I'm just kidding. No, let's do it.
I mean, anyone can find these in the show notes of this episode. Please remind me myself to add those. But they are out there. Or join the Mechbay Podcast Discord, and you can find them in our competitive events channel. So our first mission, I'm going to say this is a classic, and it's great. It's solid. It's 100%. Let's Push the Line. That was made by Dustin, the man himself, for the Triangle Tournament.
Yes, and we stole it fair and square.
Yeah, multiple people have stolen this one by now, but
because it's damn good. That's why.
Yeah,
it's
I am
good.
very proud that this is Dustin made this, and it's just like, yeah, don't change it. It's solid.
In fairness, Dustin said we could use it. He was very generous.
It's true.
He did.
We love you, Dustin.
The concept for this mission is essentially there are 4 objectives, and based on the tonnage of your unit, you push that objective that many hexes. If you're an assault, you push it 4. If you're a light, you push it 1. Go listen to our Triangle Tournament episode where we literally talk about this mission there. We borrowed it. The only change we really made was crippled units pushed it half the distance, which I thought was really cool. And you now got points based on each individual hex.
Right. It wasn't a zone for scoring. It was an individual hex for scoring. Yeah.
And a lot of that was just so we would have more breakup of the whole. There's 53 players or 55. So
in our many, many play tests, there were a lot of ties.
Yeah.
So
did it work? I think yes. Looking at the total scoring afterwards, I think the only thing I would change is it needs a 5th one to bring it in. Like the score distribution was still a little low because it's like 4 2-2 objectives, really, like people can score those. But I think 5 objectives, I think that's like, okay, now there's an odd one. Someone has to fight over it. But I think overall, this is It's made with love. It's been ran at multiple events. It's just a solid one.
Well, this mission in particular had the most playtesting done of any of these other missions.
Yeah.
It has been is by far the most refined. So I think this is why we made this one first in the lineup, because it was going to be a good start to the tournament with, a good concept and execution behind it. So I think this is a solid choice for our first mission.
Second mission, Handle with Care. Steve, tell me I'm wrong. This is a Motor City special converted to Classic.
Yeah, so I made this for Motor City, the first one we did. The intent behind this mission is that there are objectives that you have to move, but the objectives are volatile. If you move them too far, if you jump with them, if you carry too many, you get shot too hard. If you jostle this box, it might explode. So the hope is, right, from a game developer perspective on this mission, you want to allow people to grab them and move with them, but the player has to make a choice. How much do you want to push your luck? How much do you want to gamble? Do you want to run more than 5 hexes and risk an explosion?
Do you want to carry multiple boxes and risk multiple explosions?
Do you want to jump with them? Because if you fall down for any reason, they might explode. So if you decide to jump, you get a PSR at +2. That's pretty dangerous. Now in Alpha Strike, it doesn't translate 1-to-1. There are some differences. You're just flat out prohibited from jumping with these things in Alpha Strike, but that mission is always changing. So I think in concept, it worked really well. This was an extremely polarizing mission. People either loved it or they hated it.
I think that just because it's a fully random, I think the only change we would do is to make it like these are set conditions where things explode. And if you don't do those, it doesn't explode. So,
because we had tried different variations of this, and I remember being so bored trying to play this mission. And then Steve, I think I'm like, make this as much like Alpha Strike as possible. How bad can we make this? And I played that, and suddenly something clicked because it capitalized on the risk reward type of things, and it was more chaotic. But I had way more fun playing it too. And this mission was so much more fun playing it the way that you had intended it.
Yeah.
Much more fun.
I think the idea of having, like, everyone thinks that objective runners are supposed to be the fast light guys. And that's true, right? They get in, they get out, they're great. Except if you're moving volatile contents, they might explode. And if your light mech can't handle the damage, you might just die. So you need something a little bit more robust to make this move, which slows it prevents the capture the flag problem where your dasher's in and out in one turn, right?
Yep.
So
naturally,
now
it's a good design.
Yeah, you can risk it if you want to, and if you don't roll the 8-up, you don't explode. And we had some feedback saying that the 8-up was either too punishing because it was going off all the time. But I mean, it's the same thing as a possible critical hit, and it was only doing 10 damage. It wasn't astronomical.
In two groups of 5, yeah. Because I know you had play tested it like, no, a single group of 10 is too much.
A single group is bad.
Yeah, single group. So, 2 groups of 5, and it's always on the front. Okay, so yeah.
It wasn't crazy. I don't think it was out of pocket. But in general, I mean, one of the big, complaints was, oh, well, you're adding randomness into the game because maybe sometimes they explode, sometimes they don't. I go, this is BattleTech. It's a game of chance. It's a game of random numbers.
I thought it fit into the Solaris theme so well. Like, just imagining a crowd watching this, they're going to cheer every time an explosion happens. It was cinematic.
Y'all didn't let me add in the Solaris, crowd happy rules, but that's
the audience rules.
The audience
those
rules.
Aren't in the BMM.
Yeah. I brought my booklet. I was sad, but no. Mission 3, the escort duty. This was our take on killing buildings, but the buildings move, so it's not just kill the immobile thing. So we solved that, and it's kind of a spin on Justin Hall's Nova, I want to say 2023 mission. I know you played in it, Denim, where you had the cargo vehicle and you could block it on a 5-up, and I was like, what if you just block it line of sight? So we did that. And
I thought that was great, the whole line of sight.
But I feel like we solved the problem of I want to kill an a not mech unit and get points for it. And I think that concept overall worked. I think the issue was this was played on the long map, so short edge to short edge, and a lot of people were like, oh, I didn't shoot anything for 2 or 3 turns. And I was like, yeah, that's how long edge is. Or long but map, I should say. So
if we didn't play short edge to short edge, these escorts would be off the map in 2 turns. I mean, you have to do it.
In the playtest we did, long edge, sure, you had some no shooting, but it allowed people to set up ambushes and traps if you thought of it that way. And when it did, it worked really, really well.
Yeah. The other thing is some people were like, oh, well, I can let my opponent get his vehicle off the board and I can let mine get off the board and we both score these points. And I was like, cool. Version 2, you only score your points if the enemy's vehicle is destroyed. Solved.
Yeah, that or they're halved if the enemy's vehicle's not solved or something, or killed or something like that. You know what I mean? Like there were a couple, you could see them. You could see the people that just ignored the vehicles. And I'm like, that's not how this is supposed to be played. Yeah. I do want to take a quick minute on this mission. I need to specifically thank Metalcore Collectibles for custom designing our Mechbay Technical. He gave us the STL for the truck and he designed a mount and a gun in the back because our technical could in fact shoot back. It could do 5 damage at 369 ranges. And Metalcore Collectibles did a really nice job designing that for us. And I was able to print those out on my resin printer for everyone to take home. And we also need to give a huge shout out to Thiel for helping us design the BSP style card that everyone got to take home. Because Denim was able to print those and laminate those for us. But Thiel was the one who had the template for the BSP style thing that had all the cards or the car's stats on it. So thank you, Thiel. Thank you, Metalcore. Really appreciate it. The mission looked a lot better because of your help. So thank you.
I got to say, the favorite part about this whole mission was that technical and the card that went with it. I did walk away with a couple of those, so I'm happy about that.
And everyone who played got to take theirs home.
That's true.
So the other thing is, like, for this one, it was very difficult to translate. I want something that's a vehicle, like a total warfare vehicle, but I don't want the full like armor structure, all that. I don't want any of that. I just want, it's got 100 construction factor and it's vehicle. Well, then you have to do all this like, well, then it moves like this. And we had to do a lot of compromises. And most of that mission sheet is, you're shooting a vehicle, but it's really just a health pool, but it moves like a vehicle, but it really takes damage like a mech. And I was just like, I just need like a health bar that moves and you shoot it. But
this vehicle had to move first like a BSP, but it moved like a mech and it could go up and down levels, and its TMM was 2 unless it was in woods, in which case it could take the woods TMM or its TMM, but you couldn't get both, so you can't like double stack, so you could shoot it. We had to do a lot of manipulation to get this thing to work the way that we wanted. And I think that might have been a turnoff for people.
Yeah.
Because there was just so much to read about how this worked.
Yeah. Especially because like you can always shoot through mechs to a target behind it, except for when shooting at the truck. That was another special rule that if you blocked line of sight with a friendly mech against it, then the opponent could not shoot the truck. And that was so important in the mission, but it also wasn't intuitive. So I'm sure if people played it more than once, they'd be like, oh yeah, they get that light bulb moment. But just going in blind, that was a lot of information.
Next time I'm going to just print off a total warfare vehicle and be like, fine, run this. No MP hits, though. No MP hits.
Well, see, then you're already changing.
Exactly. Now, that's the problem. It doesn't work. The other part that we didn't mention, because it's the same for all 3 missions, is there was 30% of the scoring was kill. But specifically, it was just 5 points if you crippled a unit and 10 points if you killed a unit, and you got up to 30 for that. So you could score it 3 times, really. This was very controversial.
Yeah, well, for good reasons. I mean, when your locust that goes down and gives you 10 points instantly,
it feels bad.
Yeah, it feels bad when you spend all this time taking out an Atlas and you still only get 10 points, even though it took you 5 turns to do it, and a single BSP isn't gonna do that. That's why it was contentious.
Well, no, I mean, I think we can all sit here and look at this and objectively say that wasn't the right call. It was a direct result of we were so short on time.
We were.
And to start parsing out how are we going to do kills and how are we going to do cripples and how are we going to score this, rather than have everybody sit down and do a bunch of math, like, hey, can you divide 1,000 by 100 or 40 or then carry the 2? It's like, look, 10 points, 5 points. It was done for ease and simplicity, but more importantly, saving time. I would have loved to have come up with a real rubric for how to score combat. And next year, I think we absolutely should. But this was done out of a necessity, right? And it worked for what we needed it to do.
So I differ on 2 points. These were written for the third day event after 6 games of Alpha Strike and probably a lot of drinking and just relaxing and not great. It's Monday. Like, a lot of people took extra vacation time to play that. And I was like, I don't want any calculators out for this. I don't want anything. I just want it simple. Did you kill something? It's not the majority of the mission points. Like, if you do the mission and don't kill anything, you will still score more than if you killed anything. The other part of it was the Gauss rifle and Gauss slug cares not for which cockpit it hits.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, there is a train of thought where it's like, you killed something and it took 1 shot and it was worth 8,000 BV, and you shot something and killed it and it cost 8 BV. Like,
but on an Atlas, there's 11 locations you can hit with the Gauss rifle that it just doesn't care about, and on the Locust, there are 0 locations that you can hit with the Gauss rifle. So again, sure, that 1 in 36 chance will take out a target. Like, we'll take out any target, but the lighter mech you shoot at, the higher the odds up until 100%. So, it is not balanced. Like, the Gauss rifle to the cockpit is not a balancing scenario.
Were we overly cautious on how simple we wanted these missions? I think yes. I can say that in post, but
yeah. Well, I mean, looking back, hindsight's 2020. We can Monday morning quarterback ourselves, but there were a lot of decisions that got made for this tournament that if we'd had more time, I think we could have refined.
Yeah.
And this is one of them.
You know what I am proud of, though? Like, proud of? Our painting.
We didn't paint anything, Josh.
Oh, I mean, I painted stuff for the other tournament, but our painting rubric...
Josh won his own Mechbay painting contest. Yes. Josh actually walked away with the real first place trophy. You guys should see it. It is all gold. It is huge. He keeps it on a shelf in his bathroom. So the first place really got second place, but I was told not to tell anyone.
So the rubric...
But you did a lovely job.
Yeah, thank you. So the rubric was in the Classic document, so everyone knew how painting was being scored. It was on 5 categories: initial impression, basing, unit decals,
techniques,
advanced techniques, and then extravagant stuff. And we did not count display boards because we were like, nope, I only care about your mechs. Like, was there, if you wanted to have a display board to show off to other people, that's fine. We have the what award is that called, Steve?
Player's choice.
We have the player's choice if you want that. But for painting, no, I only care about what's on your mechs. So we had 2 judges with the rubric 1 through 5 going for each category. And both judges silently looked at the mechs and both scored independently. And if their scores were more than 10% apart, they were rescored together jointly, like debating each category. And I think this worked out really well. The only issue is because we had to cut time in the middle of the day to get 2.5-hour rounds, that only left a few minutes of like wiggle room to get to each player. And I think that will always be a problem in the large events, is how do we judge 55 people's paintings?
Yeah, because I'm sure this will be the smallest tournament that we have. I'm sure it's only going to go up. And if it goes up, if you're going to do painting, you need to have dedicated time for painting. So that's just going to add hours onto whatever you think the tournament's going to take.
I think we got 45 done in a 45-minute time. And I was impressed with that because I was like, that shouldn't be possible. Like, I know I spent more time than that.
I think the big thing is going to be we're going to have to get dedicated paint judging. Denham's answering questions. I'm running around fetching stuff. Josh is behind the keyboard doing all this, the stats and the data entry. We can't be judging paint at the same time. We can't be in 3 places at once. So I think we're going to have to get dedicated judges that follow the rubric and do the same thing. I know, we had, I think at the end of this, I was really surprised. We had 5 people that were within 2 or 3 points of each other for top painted. There were some very strong paint jobs out there. So, we had to have some tiebreaker judges go and make some decisions at the end there. So it was pretty tight.
Yeah, we've got a lot of talented people in this area.
But I was very overall happy with how the painting judged. I had a few people email me afterwards and it's like, hey, why is my paint score this? And I literally went over it with them and I was like, here's how you can improve based on the rubric in the document. And I was like, I felt really good that no one felt like they got screwed or missed over. Like, oh no, I totally painted this. And it's like, we had 2 judges confirm that they both independently, without talking to each other, said, this is this person's score. And then they were like, are we good? Yes. All right. And they moved on. But I do think this is where if you have more than 10 people, you're going to have to score between multiple rounds. Like after game 1, you're going to score painting. You're going to get a third of the people. After game 2, a third of the people. And even after game 3, hate to say it, but I think we just have to push back the awards ceremonies going forward. I think there was just a lot of homework at that last thing that got a little too rough.
I think, especially with painting is tough, and judging painting is tough because painting is such a subjective topic. At Motor City a couple of years ago, I had someone get very upset at their paint roll, their paint score, and they felt they should have ranked higher. And I literally kept every single painting rubric from every single judge. And I went over to the accordion folder and I pulled them out and I slapped them down. I said, this is what you got from each and every judge. This is what you got in each and every category. I'm sorry that you feel that way, but you have people having to make, executive decisions, and this is how you scored. Maybe next time do this, that, or the other. But, keeping those papers is so dang important, at least until everyone has an opportunity to voice their criticism or their concerns, and then they get that raw data back, And it also, keeping receipts keeps you accountable, but it also, provides you an out when people are going to get mad,
I want to thank Jeff from the Coolant Pod podcast and Kevin Whalen, because he was one of our tiebreakers with all the painting judging. So thank you. And real quick, I would just want to touch on the score sheets. So for score sheets, we did like normal Southern Assault, where it's the actual mission score and then your like sportsman scores. And it worked. And I know going forward, I'm going to just have 1 sheet per table, because that was too many sheets, and there were a few major instances where a player placed the wrong score in the wrong thing, and that stopped the entire conveyor belt process.
Yep.
And there's not a lot to say about that, but just 1 sheet, like, yeah.
The thing is, we're gonna have to work out how we want to do sportsmanship with that, because people are not going to be honest if they had a bad experience with somebody without sportsmanship. Maybe for scoring, for like actual objective scoring and combat scoring, we do that all in 1 sheet, but then everyone gets their own sportsmanship ticket.
I think the only way it works is the mission scoring is, per round, but then you have your sportsman sheet and you have to carry that around with you.
I think that's going to have to be how it goes, because we had so many times it's like, wait, I got the 80 points and my opponent got the 69 points. What's happening? Like, well, you wrote it down that your opponent got the 80 points. I don't know what you want me to do.
And Steve, you did a great job of being the between man of Josh is in the spreadsheets and you're in the streets, making sure that the score sheets are correct before they get to me.
That's what we had to do. Everyone would turn them in. I would pair them up and I would check the numbers and say, are these accurate? Yes, no. And I think where we had some of our big hiccups is when I had to go deal with the prize table, or I had to go deal with some other issue at at some of the other tables, and you were left to your own devices and you didn't have that secondary screening process and you were just on a roll.
I was in pure data entry Zen mode.
That's it. And it's so funny that how having that second stopgap was so important for accurate data entry.
Yeah, I know at the very end we had a top table. The player just copied his opponent's score sheet like in the direct lines, and I was like, okay, cool. So I knocked you both down, and he comes to me after the awards, and I was like, well, why did I get that? I won. And I was like, I have you as the low scoring one. He's like, oh no, I copied my opponent's score sheet and they're inversed for each player. And I was like, okay, you should know this by now. Don't copy your homework.
Look, after 6 games of Alpha Strike and 3 games of Classic, I get it. Your brain is absolute goo, but I just don't know what we're supposed to do. I mean, we're doing our best. So it is what it is, and it got corrected. And in that instance that you brought up, I think everyone knew where they were supposed to be, and they sorted it out amongst themselves. But I think you're responsible for your own score sheet.
One score sheet is the only way it works at this large of an event. I should say that. So
yeah.
All right. Well, we can do some real quick stats because we did have 43 out of 54 survey responses. So we can say with confidence that these numbers are 100% accurate.
It actually was. I want to thank everybody who played at the tournament who did bother to fill out the survey. Data is so important. And so thanks to everybody who filled one out, because I felt that was super important. And I know I pushed it hard on people. So I'm really glad they took it to heart. So thank you, everyone.
The other thing is we just did not have the time post tournament to receive any feedback on the event because we are still in tournament mode. And I've never really appreciated that as a tournament player, that, hey, the TO is thinking about packing up tables and making sure the scoring's correct and making sure there's no problems on anything. They're not worrying about I didn't really like that. I was like,
yeah, anybody who came up to me with an opinion, I really want to hear their opinion, but I was going to retain 0 of the information they were saying. So I was like, this is great. I really need you to fill out that survey because I will not remember this in 2 hours.
And I think the major reason why we got so many responses is when you turned in your last score sheet, there was a QR code right there that took you to the survey. So,
yeah.
All right. The big one, drum roll, please. 100% of people liked the event. Woo! Mission accomplished, folks.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
And 100% would do a similar styled event next year. No changes.
Excellent.
Copy paste.
So we're perfect. We don't have to change the packet at all.
Right?
I mean, apparently that's what that means. So that's it. That's all the data we took. We're good. Thank you, everyone.
No, I mean, it's okay, that means no one had a terrible time, terrible, awful time. Everyone has opinions. Everyone has opinions.
But in general, they had fun.
85% of people said 2.5 hours /8 turn game rounds was just right. And I agree. 2.5 hours is, considering I want to say every other classic one I've been to is 2 hours. That extra 30 minutes is kind of needed to wrap up the last 2 rounds, really. Because
I agree with that.
The first round is 45 minutes. The second round is 40, and it gets less time each round. So you need just a little bit more at the end.
Yeah. And I think we had 13-ish% say they needed more time, which I can appreciate, right? Sometimes you get bogged down. Yeah. I just don't know where else we could have gotten more time for these. I mean,
not without making it a multiple day event. And then you're not doing tournament brain type maneuvers. You're doing narrative type brain maneuvers, and narrative games take a much longer time.
Yeah. And even just practically, I mean, there's already 7.5 hours of gameplay in this tournament. The 7.5 hours of gameplay, that's active rolling dice, not counting lunch, not counting in between, not counting ceremonies. I mean, the whole thing was an 11-hour event. I just don't know how much more we can take from people in a day, So
do you know for a fact that one single person said that they wanted less time?
I know who they are. They're an MRC player. They will not be named, but I know you. And they actually did finish all their games early, and I'm proud of them for that. But I do want to say you are not the average BattleTech player. Okay, here's the big one. 70% of people, this is between 70 and 80 liked all of the normal list building restrictions. So that is minimum 3 units, 8,000 BV, battle mechs only, faction arrow, like all that. Like really, like 4 out of 5 people liked those. All of them, like across the board. I'd say it's pretty good. Considering we spent literal hours and days debating each and every single one of those things. So we were all like just an hour ago saying like, yeah, that was great. Why would we change that?
What the people at home don't know is that some of those discussions got pretty heated. Like, I like you guys, but there were some of those conversations where I was like, ooh, I'm going to punch somebody. So no, I think it worked out. And to see that type of response means that despite all of that, blood, sweat, and tears, I think we ultimately came to a pretty decent solution. So
I mean, that's the real secret, is that tire iron he kept talking about was not for the players in the parking lot.
Also, I do want to thank Dave for bringing me that tire iron. I felt great. I had a tire iron the whole tournament. It was on my hip, my big tire iron. It was.
Yeah, but you're going on an airplane, so.
Yeah, you have my tire iron.
It's sitting right by my front door.
Look, you can mail it to me.
No, it's going to sit there and wait for you to come claim it.
Okay, I'll come get it.
And on the inverse of that, that means that 20 and 30% of people did not like one or more of those categories. Mainly all of them like got roughly like 20% did not like that. Most of those can be distilled down into, I wanted to take different units. I wanted to take things with quad turrets. I wanted to take battle armor. I wanted to take this. And I'm like, okay, we hear you. We understand you. Please note this was our first time running the largest US Classic one. So keeping it simple was the name of the game. Like that was probably make it fun, make it simple were the 2 core concepts for this entire tournament.
And I think with more time, we may be able to address some of this. I know one person was upset because they wanted to bring a specific quad unit that wasn't covered.
Well, yeah, anything with the quad turret, which it will be in the new battle mech manual. So, yay, there's new battle mech manuals already going to have a lot of the things that people were complaining about not being able to take.
Keep it simple, BMM, third day of convention, when we are also running, or not, we are not running, we are running in the Alpha Strike one. So our brains are also fried.
Yeah. So it's tough. Know that it is a very big balancing act, and we are working on it.
All right, here's the big one, the major outlier for the what did you not like in the packet format. 54% did not like the BSPs. And my first initial reaction is that's a lot of people that didn't like it. The other part is not everyone didn't like it, so I'll take that.
Yeah, A, almost half the people did like it. B, as Steve said, we didn't get a lot of specific information about what about it they didn't like, but talking to people in some of the other notes, a lot of people specifically didn't like the heavy strike. So even though they didn't like just one aspect of it, they marked the whole thing down. These are the sort of details that we're looking for. So yeah, actually almost half the people just saying they liked it was honestly a little surprising to me.
You thought it would be lower?
I did. I thought it would be lower.
Oh, ye of little faith.
I was happy it wasn't. I considered it a victory.
It's a polarizing topic, and to see it split nearly down the middle. I mean, even at 54, I think that's one person over the others. If you're looking at percentages, it's really a very close split. We'll have to look through exactly what the comments were, and maybe we'll tweak it for next year. We'll see. It's one of those things where we could use a little bit more data as to why it was a disfavorable experience.
Yeah. What can we do better if we include it? Like, is it different mission design? Is it like what is it about it, and how can we make it work?
All right, here's the big one. So there was which mission was your favorite and which mission was your least favorite? What mission was your favorite? They were all roughly split. Like everyone, there was no clear favorite. The winner just by a hair is Push the Line. But we all kind of knew that going into it just because it's the reason why we chose it. Because it's fun, it's easy, it's simple, and it's a good, fun game.
Yeah. So I think it all, like you said, very, very close. It was Push the Line followed But that other one,
Handle with care by
Handle with care.
2.5%.
Yep, and then followed again by escort mission. But they were all like the pie chart from like 10 feet away just looked like it was split into even thirds.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with that. There was not a 99% of people did not like this mission. That's what you don't want to see. Especially, you even don't want to see that which mission was your favorite, because that's like, okay, we can just play that 3 times, folks. Don't worry.
Well, I think we did a good job of trying to vary how the objectives operated in our missions, right? One was a get to the middle and push things, one was a grab and run away, and one was escort a thing. I mean, those are all pretty different. So each mission felt different in and of itself. At least I thought so when we were building them.
Yeah, agreed. It's important.
All right, so that's statistics from the surveys. Do we want the what people took statistics?
I mean, it's 11 o'clock right now. Do you want to go through all that?
I want to do real quick. Do we want to know what the most common chassis were? The top 3, just real quick. All right, the most common chassis. There were 6 of these. There were 6 Sunders. There were 6 Warhammers, and shockingly, there were 6 Wasp.
Ooh, well, I guess it is super cheap.
Yeah, I know for the Sunder, there's a lot of snub-nose and AC twinning variants. So really, whatever you want, you can take it on Sunder.
Here's what surprised me the most, and I guess it shouldn't because I've been playing a long time, but for tournament play, you had to go down to like 5th place to get the first person who was not a 4 gunnery, like to get to a 3 gunnery.
Yeah.
You had to go way down on the list. And that surprised me.
We've touched on this a lot of times. The problem is more mech is just sometimes better than better mech. But it's not impossible. Like, it's not a clear, it's just, yeah. You don't need a 2-3 Hollander. Maybe taking a 2-4-5 Hollanders will do better. And that's where it comes out.
But you can't take 2 Hollanders because you're limited to 1 per chest.
Wait, no, the Hollander 3 is different than the Hollander 1. Not by this tournament, Josh. I already screwed you over.
You know what I am really pleased to see?
What?
We had 3 people bring Greyhounds.
We got 3 Greyhounds.
And 3 Crab 27Bs.
Oh,
nice.
No. Yeah.
Nice.
I walked by one of the tables when a Greyhound extended its retractable blade, got the multiple crits in the face. I need to say this now. They forgot that a 12 on the crit roll blew the head off, and they just rolled 3 crits in the head and did not kill the mech or the pilot. And I was like, oh.
Our TFM? I mean, it's...
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay, MRC Flair. I know you're out there. Most common specific variants. This was a little shocking, but then I look at him like, no, I would expect this. The Super Griffin. The Griffin for the big jump one. 4 variants taken.
But at the same time, what I do think is really surprising is 4 longbow 13Cs.
Yep.
I didn't think there were going to be that many longbows. The same number of Super Griffins, the same number of longbow 13Cs, which is crazy.
I think going in blind when you're like, hey, I need a mech that can possibly do long and possibly do short. What if I had a bow that possibly did both of those distances? Don't want the crossbow. That's only short. Maybe a longbow that also does short?
Yeah, no joke. When you've got what, 6 MML7s, like that's a lot of SRMs, Steve. That's a whole lot of SRMs. That will delete a mech real fast.
I know. I wouldn't expect to see. I mean, it's a good mech, and now that you look at it, you go, yeah, that's pretty solid. But if you were to say, Steve, do you think you're going to see more than 2 longbows in your tournament? I would have said no, not really. I was surprised.
It's 84 damage of SRMs.
Yeah, I know.
It's a lot.
It's also kind of slow.
Yeah, but its BV is less than 1400. Like it's
value.
And you're firing 6 of them, so your gunnery doesn't have to be great because, you're probably going to hit with a couple.
Look, I understand. We break this down. We talk about it. I get it. It makes sense. But if you were to ask me, would I have guessed there to be more than, if you were to say, did you expect to see 4 of the same longbow? I would have said no, not a longbow. I mean, yes, we're talking about the MMLs and everything else. I get it, but I would not have guessed that if you had asked.
You want to know a good statistic, though? There was only 3 spiders across 54 lists, and there was only 1 dasher. And yes, it was the Dasher H, and yes, it was a Ringers list. So I want to say this is probably the healthiest like mechs taken in a list, like being able to see all of them. I was like, not a single one of these lists I would not fight on like a pickup game.
Yeah. And there were only 2 Wraiths, which I was really surprised about.
Yeah. So I'm very happy about that. Quick little faction breakdown. There were 30 ill clan lists. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense if you're allowing any era.
If you're playing Inner Sphere, you want Ill Clan toys.
Yeah.
You just do.
Yep. 7 Dark Age, 3 Early Republic, 6 Jihad, 4 Civil War, 2 Clan Invasion, 1 Early Succession War. That was a clan, like, Golden Century player, and 1 Star League. So,
you know what I'd guess about?
No 3025 only Inner Sphere.
No intro tech. Super intro tech, I should say.
I would guess... I'd be real curious to see, of those 6 Jihad lists, how many were Word of Blake?
None. We had no Word of Blake players.
Really?
Yep.
Why so much Jihad then? No, okay, there were 3 Jihad Comstar players.
Mm-hmm. Two
Federated Sons.
And 1 Free World.
Okay, but I mean, like, half of the Jihad players were Comstar. Like, I mean, that makes more sense. And maybe not Word of Blake specific, but...
And I'm going to say this on air. I'm pretty sure there was a problem. There's something about Comstar players because all 3 of those Comstar players sent in their list in like a PDF format or like a screenshot. And I was like, what is with y'all? Like the list submission document is pure and sacred, but you got to make it more pure and sacred in PDF form. Yeah, y'all need to pray to Blake.
They printed it out, hard copy mailed it to you. Snail mail.
Yeah. So we had 60% roughly of lists were Inner Sphere faction, 20% were clan, almost 20% were merc, and then the last 4% was periphery. So, yeah. I mean, that is roughly what I would expect a 8,000 BV classic tournament to do. Just like, now the faction breakdown for that: 6% Capellan, 12% Comstar, 10% Draconis Combine, 30% Fed Sons, 23% for Free Worlds, 10% Lyran, 3% Republic, and 3% Tamhar. I don't know why I didn't just add that into Lyran. I must have felt special that day, but yeah.
Do we have a clan breakdown somewhere in here?
We do. The weird thing was, it was like every clan was represented like once. So that's 1 Hell's Horses, 1 Ice Hellion, 3 Jade Falcons, 1 Nova Cat, 1 Sea Fox, 1 Wolf, and 2 Rasselhog. But I just, yeah. And then 1 Clan Smoke Jaguar. So
interesting.
Yeah. So Jade Falcons were technically the most taken at 3.
And always the most humble.
All right. Do we want the winning list real quick?
I mean, why not?
Theo Layman's Magistry of Canopus. What? Nope. It's so the winning general list. So there were a bunch of other winners, but I want to talk about this winning general list was Theo Layman's Magistry of Canopus. So that little, footnote of percentage for periphery. Yeah, that was our best general, taking Dark Age Magistry. They took an Agroterra, a Min Shin, a Pensathelia, a Sha Yu, and a Thunder. And I'm a little frustrated because if I had to put money on whether a Sha Yu would be in a best general list, I would still be paying that bet back right now.
This makes me really excited because in my Magistracy list, I have both the Agroterra and the Pensathelia. So as soon as I get those painted, whenever I decide to tackle yellow again, I'm excited. I'm excited for this. That's great. Gives me hope.
Yeah, I mean, they've got AC precision ammo on the Thunder, which makes sense because it's that. They've got the snub-nosed targeting computer Min Shin, so it's fast and always hits. The Sha Yu, it's just there, I assume, as an emotional support Sha Yu. And then, yeah, the Agrodair is a good jumpy boy, which has 21 pulse damage. So they're pushing the pulse damage cap, but they're not like spamming any light units. They're not spamming heavies. Like, it's a very well-rounded list, and I think that's really awesome. So I just wanted to talk on that real quick, because it's like, you don't see that every day, folks. So, all right. How do we feel about the tournament? Any closing thoughts on this one, boys? I know I feel good that it's over. I think we had fun. I think we learned a lot. I think for me, running this being part of my first time on the back end of a tournament, it was a big, fun learning experience. And now I appreciate just playing at it, and I'll probably never complain to TOs ever again.
Running them is always a way different experience than just playing. And if anyone has the opportunity to help out or help run a tournament, I think you should do so, just to get a feel for what some of the common problems are, right? You're going to see things in a different light. So I'm glad, Josh, that you've come around and you got your hands dirty and you know what it's like to be on the other end. So
the foot's on the other shoe now, Clanner.
For me, I think, like I mentioned at the outset of the episode, right? I think we did a really good job. I'm going to pat ourselves on the back just a little bit.
Oh, I appreciate that. I needed that.
Yeah. Look, it's tough work, right? And some of us are real dumb and say, I'm going to run a tournament every 6 months because that's real smart. You know, we'll run Motor City and we'll run the Classic down here. I love it. But no, I mean, there is a certain level of, call it a thrill, right? You're in the zone, right? You got to focus on things. It's go time. You're coordinating bodies, you're arranging prizes, you're making snap decisions on the field for rules. There's something electric about it that I absolutely love. So I have a good time with these events. I like running them. I think my favorite part of this event was that it took place on November 10th, which was the 50th anniversary of the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald, which is a very important day in history. That was fun. People had a good time. I love seeing everybody. And I think we ran it surprisingly smoothly for the hiccups that we could have had. And I'm pleased. I think we did a good job, gentlemen.
Thanks.
All right. So what would we do differently? I know this is weird, but I'd probably keep me just behind the Excel. I think I did good there. As I do my supervisor, reflect on my year's performance. I was like, I did great. And then it broke down as soon as I left it. And then someone had to else type in scores. And then I didn't know where they were. And I think having a specified role for all the people involved is actually very important. Of course, it's project management stuff, but yeah, it's a tournament. It's going to be fun. You're going to wing it. No, you can't wing a 54-man Classic tournament. Josh, you sit at this thing. You enter score sheets. If there's a problem, you give it to Steve. Steve, what do? You stand in front of the score sheet, man. You make sure that the score sheet is good. No hanging chads on this one, boys.
Yeah, I thought this was what we are doing differently. This is Josh's. I love how Josh's what I do differently is exactly the same.
No. In fairness, we did have a little bit of a shuffle in the middle. We because Josh was doing some painting stuff and some other things, and I was entering data for a hot minute, and my method for entering data was a little bit different, and it threw a slight wrench in the works. So Josh is right on that point. I think if we all take dedicated roles, we might avoid some of the hiccups that we had, but I think the other hiccups we can avoid just by doing more of these and getting better experience.
I wasn't paying attention to either of you guys at all.
You were busting butt all over the place. And I can't thank you enough for just handling all the complicated rules questions. I could handle a couple easy ones, but you were out there with your book and you were not allowed to have bathroom breaks because every time you left, 3 people's hands went up and I panicked. But you were everywhere. So what would you change, Denim?
First, I have to ask, what would you say is the rate of questions? Because at the largest Classic event in the U.S., because you've been the rule lore master for the little ones and the big one. Was the percentage of rules questions like comparable, or was it like roughly the same? Like you're always
it was similar. It really depends on the mission. So like when we had a mission where people suddenly realized DFAs or pushing are like a really good idea, suddenly I got a flurry of pushing and DFA and charging questions. Like a lot of the questions were very mission specific. So I couldn't tell you that well, most of the questions were just this. It was never that, but they'd come and go in waves. It was exactly the same, I would say, as running a smaller tournament, just a larger volume.
Okay.
So I was more like I think I got 20,000 steps, is what my phone told me, just walking back and forth from table to table. I got a lot of walking in.
But no, that's good. I just wanted to make sure, like, hey, do the classic players know how to play classic BattleTech? And it's like,
yeah, it was never a question on that level. Like all of these people had experience, and the people who had more experience were very happy to help out the people with less experience, which was super nice. Most of my questions were, I think this is how it goes. Can you confirm? And I was either like, yeah, you got it exactly right, or no, because you forgot about this little thing that was in there. Sometimes it was easy as, oh, what's the range on this? And my answer was, it's right there on the sheet. Like it says, it's right, it's there.
Thank you. Now back to your, what would you do differently? Sorry.
The thing I would do differently is I would try to do more designing the missions around how we want things to play, and not just taking we need a headhunter type mission, so let's just take a headhunter mission. I would be like, let's try to design this around the concepts that we want to push here. So I think more strenuous mission design and mission playtest is what I would do differently.
Everyone wants a well-oiled mission machine.
It's important. It really is. Nothing ruins a tournament worse than, oh man, that mission just sucked. Like, why did we get the rules 5 minutes before this thing? And this doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I know we had debated on, well, if we get all the list in, by the due date, then we could possibly send out the missions. And then we had like one person show up day of tournament, and it's like, Didim, I need you to check his list. I never got an email from him. I thought he dropped.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mechbay, by the way, on the phone, came in flying colors for that. It gave me all the information I needed.
I'm glad.
It was fantastic.
So, Steve, what would you do differently?
I think
more sleep the day before the Alpha Strike one?
Yeah.
Less malort.
Look, you can only... No, it's fine. Honest to God, ringers are really important, and having those people available to play. We had one on standby. We kind of scraped up a second when we needed, but I think maybe, either tailoring that list a little bit differently, or maybe having a little bit more oversight on the ringers list would be maybe a good idea. I don't know. But I think overall we really did a nice job. We are
overly critical on ourselves, and if you listen to this and be like, "Oh, dang, it sounds like they didn't do a great job," it's like, no, we did. It's just we've spent a month thinking on this, and it's like every imperfection is the worst thing ever. It's just like painting.
Now we know where all the holes were,
yeah.
Right? So I think overall we did a decent job, and
we were on schedule. How about that? Like there was no delays.
We did have to short lunch a little bit, but overall I think we ran a pretty tight ship. So yeah.
All right. Well, do we want to shout out our podium placers?
I mean, they're the ones who did the work. We should probably give them the recognition they deserve.
They deserve it. Okay, starting with best overall. That's the ranked average of general, paint, and sportsmanship. First place, Liberty Shane. Second place, Ando Ferguson. And third place, Mark Goodwin. Then moving on to Best General number 1, we have Thiel Lehman. Then in second place, James Hemstock. And third place, Nick Muth. For Best Paint, in first place, we have Andrew McGee. In second place for paint, we have Jacob Hoovelink, also known as Hoovy. And third place, we have Phil Mayuski. And for Best Sportsman, in first place, we have Chris Pribinek. Second place, Luke Potma. And third place, Jamie Walter. And of course, the final one, the Player's Choice, James Hemstock.
Well done, everybody.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm proud of everyone on that list. Everyone who was there and got an award deserved an award. So, all right. Well, now here's the important part. We got some big thank yous because we're just 3 folks in a trench coat put on the tournament. Like we were but a lot of people behind us helped it make it happen.
100%. There's absolutely no way that we could have done this to the degree that we did without help from all of these people. Obviously, first and foremost, Bobby from Fortress Miniatures and Games, running the entire convention, arranging for the venue, the tables. He secured us the maps, the terrain. He had it all printed. He had it all painted. I mean, Bobby went well and above. Bobby did price support. He really handled 90% of the back end stuff for us, so we could just focus on getting the event running and scoring and everything else. So, Bobby, thank you so much for all of your hard work and really giving us the platform and opportunity to run this tournament. Because I had a lot of fun. I think I can speak for my co-hosts when they say they had a lot of fun. If they say they did not have fun, they're lying. I'm telling you, we all had fun. Don't listen to them.
So much fun. Full of fun. Fun.
Also, stop beating me with the tire iron, Steve.
The beatings will continue until morale improves. No, but thank you, Bobby. Really, this was great, and being able to run the largest North American Classic BattleTech tournament was an honor and a pleasure. Also, want to thank Matt from Cross Electric Designs for the rivers and water effects that we got for our tables. Want to thank Chris over at Thunderhead Studios for designing 90% of the hills that we used, the trees. Thank you for giving us access to those so we could really make some very stunning tables. Want to thank Metalcore Collectibles for the custom truck and gun that we used for our escort mission. I think these things look great. I will probably print a couple for myself because they're just fun. We already mentioned Thiel. Thank you for the BSP escort cards. They looked phenomenal and gave us a real professional spin on that third mission. Gene from 888 STL for the prize support, the giant battleships to help flush out those 2 maps that were just a little bit light in terrain.
I wanted to play on those.
Man, those battleships are so dang cool. And you know what the sad part is? They took up about a third of the map. Those were his smallest battleships.
Yeah.
I said, Gene, I need your smallest boats. And, yeah. So thank you very much for that. I'm sure I'm missing somebody. I want to thank all of Bobby's people, right? We had Ryan who was running the store and he was helping out set up tables. But no, I just want to thank everybody that was helping Fortress out, helping Bobby out, helping us out. I mean, with the table setup and the table tear down, everyone came together to make this a great event. And last but not least, we want to thank all the players for attending, you guys showing up, rolling dice, giving us that feedback.
For real, as awesome as we can make it, if nobody showed up, what's the point?
We get to play by ourselves, but
the tournament is for you. It really, really, really is.
So I'm super thrilled to see 100% of participants said they would come back and play again, and 100% said they would have, they had fun. So doesn't get much better than that. So I think really most of the success is because we had so much love and support from other people. And if I'm forgetting you and you helped, know that I appreciate you, and we needed your help to make it happen. I just don't have your name on my list of people I typed out here. So we did it, boys.
We did it.
Rock on.